I want to introduce the next speaker, Tim. And to be honest, Tim, he is all about a company called InBlock.io. And you know what we're going to be doing is we're going to go over scaling and privacy. We've got a true cyberpunk at heart here, scaling on the Ethereum chain. And I think it's really important that we're going to go straight into Tim's talk today. But I want to just talk a little bit about Tim's background. He's a network engineering and IT security since 2010. Since 2017, he's emerged actively within the Ethereum community. And really, all jokes aside, let's just jump straight into Ethereum. Let's just straight into Tim. And Tim, let's join us on stage here. Yeah, let's go. Brother.
Thank you very much.
Cool, brother.
Test. Do you hear me? Yeah, wonderful. So, hello everybody. It's nice to be here. Figuring out where the clicker is. All right. And I'm ready to go. Wonderful. So what I will talk with you about is like my learnings from being in the Ethereum community and also having a background in network engineering and stuff. And how can we scale Ethereum with privacy off-chain and for like also files which never hit the chain in any way to enable digital sovereignty, data governance, and self-sovereignty. So yeah, my background is network engineering and I worked for Checkpoint. Has anybody heard about Checkpoint Software Technologies before? Like one of the biggest IT security companies, securing like most of the top Fortune 500 companies. And in that time I also learned a lot about like computer surveillance and stuff, and it was a time where, you know, Snowden leaks and stuff. So it's a good perspective to understand how surveillance works. So when I joined the blockchain space in 2017, it was really about finding new ways of building institutions which provide us with like freedom and sovereignty and independence. And the DIGO Foundation was all about like how do we govern the commons. It was an initiative I started in 2018. I restructured Swarm and like created from the Ethereum Foundation in 2019. And I worked with the public sector in Germany to provide alternatives for the public sector for Google Suite and Microsoft Office 365. So since 2021 I was really focused on the AQUA Protocol and still was doing like with my own company, Digital Sovereign Services. But it's really like, for my background, why am I interested in privacy is I've grown up in Eastern Germany. And Eastern Germany was pretty totalitarian in a way, because you couldn't have different opinions. You would be surveilled by the Stasi, and some people got tortured and killed. So privacy is really a foundation for political discourse and also for a free and democratic society. And we see that over and over again. If we speak about self-sovereign identity, which is related to privacy obviously as well, Christopher Allen is a very good reference. He has been in the space for many years and he spoke about self-sovereign identity in many ways. And he was remembering the attack on the Bevölkerungsregistry, which is like population registry, 2 days ago, 1943, which was holding all the records of like the Jewish population. They destroyed only 16% of the registries, leading to like a very efficient annihilation of like large part of the Jewish population in the Netherlands. So privacy is really, really important, not only for keeping ourselves safe and having free and like discourse and everything, but also for having economic participation. So the new oil is data, and we all know that, but we all give away data all the time through like public like services which are for free, like social media. And this means that the people which can govern data, which are like the top companies in the world today, are actually refining that data and market that data and benefit from it, while we don't. So we become products and other people take economic advantage. So privacy is also the foundation for economic digital participation. I want to give credit to Professor Ben Ku, which I met in Indonesia when I was there, who really helped me to understand and refine and define the ideas around data governance and data accounting and abstractions which are helpful in that regard. So he really helped to also initiate this project I'm working on. So digital sovereignty and economic participation, they are not separatable. They are part of the same coin. And privacy, you need to own your own data to govern it yourself. You need to be able to collect, process, and publish it. And you need to have a way to account for that data so you can prove authorship, that you're the person who created the data set or took a photo or something like that. And this gives you the ability to legally and physically enforce governance over your data. And this is also really important when we want to fight, for example, fake news. So when we speak about privacy, it means really like private data is local by default. It's not somewhere else. It's on a machine you control, and you have no redundancy when it's created first, and it's asymmetric. And when you do like form agreements and share data, then obviously you get some distribution, some redundancy, and then some symmetry. And if you put it into the public space, it's highly distributed, highly redundant, and highly symmetric. And this is what blockchains are. So what you see is like blockchains are in the opposite spectrum of privacy and private data. And furthermore, encrypted data does not mean that it's private, and private data doesn't mean it's encrypted. So encryption means that we obfuscate data, and that we have an increased time before somebody can leverage that data, read it, use it, process it, and it will eventually break. So, and there are a lot of things which lead to like in decreased time in data being broken open, and it's like quantum computing or known weakened crypto standards from NIST, which were, for example, compromised by the NSA, and we know that through the known leaks as well, and architectures which allow like other parties to access your data. While they say it's encrypted, they have another pair of keys allowing them to access your data. And this is true for, like, for example, secure messengers and stuff. So what data do we want to keep private? Like obviously data which can be which is personal identifiable data, so identity data, but also data which can be valuable economically for yourself. So only if it's private, and then you have a choice who you want to give it to and under which conditions. And data which can be weaponized against you, which is often personal identifiable data. So don't put it on chain, never. Don't distribute it, it's a terrible idea. And if you don't control the infrastructure your data is on, it's probably not your data. So when Bitcoin started in 2008, I saw it really like a revolution, like a war declaration against corrupt institutions, and like the first block hints to that as well, Council on brink of like second bailout for banks. So it was a new form of institution, a global accounting system, allowing for like a new monetary system to be created. I think the most significant innovation through Bitcoin is actually something different, which is like cryptographic timestamping. And Peter Todd provides a service until this day, which is that you can like timestamp files on Bitcoin and account for their existence. So you can do a proof of existence. And this is amazing because you don't need to reveal the file, you can just publish a hash to the chain to prove the existence of a file. So I would like you to think about blockchains as cryptographic clocks. Then Ethereum comes around like Bitcoin on steroids, allowing for much more applications other than Bitcoin. And in December 2023, he wrote an article, Vitalik, Make Ethereum Cyberpunk Again. Did anybody read the article? Some people, amazing. For everybody who hasn't read it, I highly recommend it, because he speaks about the original vision of Ethereum, which was really also propagated by Gavin Wood. And he spoke about Ethereum as the world computer, not only providing a compute layer with Ethereum, but also providing a storage layer and a communication layer. And at that time, like, I was one of those people which were dreaming about a free and sovereign internet, allowing us to build new institutions and services, which never really came to fruition because Swarm was quite delayed and Whisper is not there yet really. It's now called Vaku. So it invited a lot of dreams, which unfortunately didn't really come true, which are also related to self-sovereign identities, building network organizations where people can freely economically participate, where we have supply chain transparency, where we can build like peer-to-peer marketplaces, alternatives to Uber or Airbnb, using that infrastructure to build fair marketplaces. And it was all about shifting power balance, because why do you need that kind of resilience? Because you were able to face against governments and you were able to face against like monopolies. So can we scale Ethereum offline and private? Can I have a layer 1 like transaction security off-chain and like do that with offline files? And can I like compensate for the lack of storage and communication infrastructure? Can we do it digitally sovereign? And I want to show you how we can do that. So one of the key advantages I see we have today over like a couple of years ago is that PGP was never as popular as MetaMask with over 10 million people using it. And then we now have like military-grade like hardware wallets. And this is really where the foundation for our power lies to use cryptography, by having the distribution of those keys and allowing to use these wallets not only like for financial transactions, but as a new form of PGP. And when we speak about data, it's really important, you might have heard about identity wallets, to separate data from the wallets. Because when we say that we combine it, we really compromise the security of the data of the wallets through like additional APIs. So to separate them is really important. This is more a conceptual thing. We want the wallets to really keep our keys safe and deal only with the key things, which means like signing, decrypting, encrypting, publishing transactions, and key recovery. And then the data vaults, we really want to have them private by default, way, for example, to log in with your wallet and govern the data with your wallet, and to have like backup procedures and access control there. So AQUA PKC is a reference implementation and a protocol approach, which is open source, which you can just like look up and use today. But it's really about the concepts. It's not the greatest implementation because we don't have a lot of resources while we were building it, but we want to convey the concepts. So the goal of AQUA is to really provide a way which makes it really cheap and easy to notarize data. So that you can prove the existence, you can sign it, etc. And that you have a way to really easily verify it in real time. So when you encounter verifiable data sets, that you get a feedback, like in a browser extension, red or green. And the personal knowledge containers is all about your ability to govern your data, like to collect data, to process it, and to publish it. And this is really important that it's private by default, so when something goes offline, you still have it. And this is how we do it. Like we have the portable hash chains. We don't need a token for that. We have the ability to build executable contracts on top of the verifiable data structure. When you want to choose to distribute data, you do it, but you start with a single node. So everybody has a single node. If I want to share data with somebody, I build a trusted connection with that person, and then I share with that person what I want to share. Very old school in a way, nothing new there. But what is new is that we use the blockchain technologies and we bring it into the local space. So this means instead of distributing the hash chain everywhere all over the world very expensively, we start with it locally. And then we can safeguard data integrity, we put on digital signatures, we can timestamp it to layer 1, and this is really where the transaction security comes from and the ability to prove their existence. And we have the ability to use immutable stateful links. So what we can do is like we can interlink portable hash chains, building graphs out of them, which are trustworthy, stable, like fixed stars in the sky, I like to say, and not like sandstorms, because with normal data we can't verify an integrity and we can't verify authorship, we can't verify when it was published. All that we get if we do the timestamping and the integrity verification and the signatures. This is an example of like just taking a file which you have multiple revisions of, and every revision, every time you change the state of the file, you keep track. And so you have an immutability of the record, you can fork it, you can merge it, you have cryptographically verifiable. It's very Git-like in a way. And you can sign every revision. So we could make contracts. If we want to sell a car or whatever, right? I can send you a contract which you sign with your wallet and I sign with my wallet, and behind that could be an identity claim. And we don't need to go on-chain, we don't need to make anything public about it, and we can prove the identity, the integrity of the data with having a timestamp before we share it. So the current state of the prototype is that you can log into a data container which you can host yourself, where you can multi-sign a file in collaboration, legal records or whatever you want to do, where you have the ability to upload any media data like voice files or video files and sign them. And you can execute a proof of existence, which is like very open timestamp-like, but from your local container without revealing your data. And you can import and export the portable hash chains, which means like we can send them to each other into each other's containers. And we have a Chrome extension which is able to verify those portable hash chains also offline, which means like I don't need to have a container to receive your portable hash chain, to check for its integrity and to extract the file. This is an example how we do it with a file. So a picture has been uploaded to a container. And you see in the upper left corner the DA symbol, which is like the Chrome extension we use for the data verification, which you can just get from the Chrome App Store. And this is how it looks like when you verify the local, like the hash chain, which is in the form of a, in this case, MediaWiki article, which has all the cryptographic metadata, which has been signed by an Ethereum wallet address. And you see here with the symbol of the clock that it has been like witnessed by the like Ethereum main chain with like a Merkle tree proof and a witness contract which stores like the root hash on chain. You can export it and then you get this JSON file where like your data is in there and all the cryptographic data which you need for verification is local at the file. So you don't need to get it anywhere else. And then you can just drop it into an offline verifier and you get the file, you can extract the file and you get the cryptographic data. So this is like an example. What Snowden could have done is like he could have dropped all his leaks into one of those containers, signed the data, timestamp it, and then later publish it. Why would this be good? Because we could verify every time we see a document of the leaks that is indeed, it wasn't altered, it's indeed like original leaked data. And this is very, very powerful, especially because you can use it for, yeah, how do you say that? Create immutable history records, which you don't need to reveal until later. This is the future of the project, like the next step. So right now we are developing the Guardians, which means like that you have a way to exchange data between containers automatically based on contracts you make. So if I have data I want to share with somebody, I can link it to a data access agreement where you reference a wallet, which wallet you want to share it, and you sign it, and the signature itself will be authority for the Guardian to share that portable hash chain with another Guardian if he knows it. So furthermore, the Guardians are able to execute contracts which are evaluated. So like access contracts is one way to use them. The infrastructure we use for them is the Guardians have to look up the witness contracts on Ethereum. This is the only thing they need to get from the chain. And we want to have a secure transport layer for messaging, and for that we use matrix.org. But this is one possible transport layer, it could be anything else. The Guardians establish a trust connection with each other, and they use, again, signatures to do that, so that we know, okay, if I want to share something with a friend, I first need to establish a trusted connection to his container. After this is done, I just say I want to share a file with that friend and sign it with my wallet. My Guardian will understand it and will give access to this file automatically. This is, yeah, I could write an article, for example, and my friend would automatically get an update if I shared with him. And then he could send me back an edit of my article. And this is really close to original vision of like Tim Berners-Lee. Everybody has a website, but you can receive edits to your website. And it's a form of knowledge governance. So this enables peer-to-peer publishing at the station, and it allows you to, for example, build like also peer-to-peer news systems which are trustworthy. So you could, like I said, subscribe to remote articles, or like change them and collaborate, because you can change the permissions in a collaboration domain with a Guardian, and then multiple people could publish to one container, for example. And I think the real interesting thing is that you can do like machine and human readable contracts, like I said before, because you have the same transaction security like on-chain, and you can build various different ways of how the Guardians evaluate and execute those contracts. So the summary is like it's an infrastructure for allowing for peer-to-peer publishing at the station while being private by default, and you can run like smart contract-like things off-chain. For example, like the data access agreement I was speaking about. And this is really useful for various use cases like self-sovereign identities or investigative journalism, data trading of private data, and to protect intellectual property. What we need right now to move this project forward is support. So we need funding support, and any other forms of like non-financial contributions are very welcome. So if you have time and you want to support something like that, you're very welcome. And the next step will be to build the Guardian and mature the protocol. And then there are various opportunities to commercialize this in line with like existing laws and regulations. If you want to see the prototype, I want to invite you to come outside and find me outside. I will be around and I can show you the working prototype. We can dig deeper in the tech if you're interested. Thank you very much.
Big thank you to Tim. I think any questions while we're in here, guys? You gotta field a couple questions. Any questions?
We have time for questions.
We got maybe a minute or two. So anyone want to ask any questions, Tim? And also, I love these intimate stages because really it's about grab Tim, have a chat about this. This is what this is all about, is connecting in these spaces. So, and also check it out. Check out the website. We do have a question. Perfect. Yeah.
The question is, you refer to the portable hash chains. Is that like Merkle trees that Git uses or something else?
No, like the portable hash chains is the data structure we define in the data, like in the AQUA Protocol. And it's like a lot of different verification hashes hashed together, like including your signature or the witness data. It's all hashed together to make it immutable, part of the history of the file, so that it cannot be removed.
It's not like a tree, it's like more serial.
Yeah, exactly. It's like really like a blockchain, but not distributed. It holds all the data together to verify the file history.